You ever go on a swing set as an adult and end up feeling like you're gonna puke? Well, we can thank a concept named movement sensitivity for that. So, what is it? Why does it happen? And what can we do about it? Let's get into it. So, often we think of dizziness as an issue with a balance system, some type of condition like BPPV or Meniere's disease, cervicogenic dizziness. These things that are well known. There's an obvious issue with one of the systems that helps you feel balanced. As you can see in this picture, we got basically three big ones. We have your inner ear, we have proprioception, your neck being the biggest part of that, and we have your vision. So when we think about, hey, why would I be dizzy turning in place or moving? Often these are the causes, and that's very, very typical, right? But there can be something else that can happen. Often when you've been dealing with these conditions, they can stick around for quite a while, or it's hard to find help for them. You are symptomatic, so you change what you're doing, how you're moving, right? I call that robot mode. So, hey, we've learned to avoid certain things, to move differently. We're not whipping around in place. There's been a lot of changes in your day-to-day life. Say everything goes well and you find help for those things and they get resolved. There can still be changes that have occurred from basically getting stuck in that robot mode. When we get to this point, everything has been treated. Say you had cervicogenic dizziness, it's better, or Meniere's disease, it's gone. But there's still a sensitivity to things that you have been avoiding. There's nothing wrong with your body, just as when an adult gets on a swing and they get sick, there's nothing wrong with that person. They just haven't done it since they were 12. It's just that we've become sensitive to movements that we've avoided. Now, this is common, like I said, for everybody, right? We all have something we could be sensitive to. The extreme example is like Simone Biles, right? Unless you're a gymnast and you're used to that stuff, even if you physically could do it, your vestibular system, your body in general would not be able to handle it very well. Turning like that, flipping like that, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's just a good way to illustrate that we all have sensitivity to some movement. The issue with what we're talking about is when it becomes something that you need to do day to day. None of us are doing a double axel, whatever that day to day, but you would want to be able to turn in bed or spin or turn your head. When these things become limited, that becomes a problematic movement sensitivity that we would want to treat so you can live a normal life again, basically. Now, there are some ways to quantify and measure this. There's a little questionnaire called the movement sensitivity quotient. Sorry, that's a mouthful. Now, I bring that up just to let you know that that's out there, but it's not something that I find typically helpful. Often by the time I'm working with people on this part of their rehab, we already know what motions they're sensitive to. This is just a nice basic way to kind of quantify that. It's out there. You might have heard of it. It can be useful. It's pretty generic and limited in the movements it listed, but just wanted to bring that up. So let's get into the question that everybody always asks me. What do you do about it, right? There's a lot that you can do to treat this. It's a very, very treatable thing. And it really depends on what movement in particular you're sensitive to, right? We would need to identify that. So I can't just give you a blanket statement, do this one thing. We would need to individualize this for your personal situation, basically. But what would that look like? Let's use the swing set as an example. Although many people don't care about getting back to being able to go on a swing set, say that was super important to you, right? What would we do? So everything is working well. We just have this sensitivity. Basically, the only thing is we just need to gently reintroduce this stimulus and help you scale up. So all that means is we don't want to get you on the swing set until you just go for it for 20 minutes the first time. Maybe we start some different exercises to simulate the movement of swinging. Maybe we have you do it, on a different thing that kind of oscillates similar to a swing, but is much less, intense. Then we graduate to doing the swing set, but going very gently for, 30 seconds at a time, getting off. In this way, right, we can begin to scale back up. The same exact thing would be true for turning in place or rolling over or turning your head in certain directions. It's just the process of gently reintroducing, increasing intensity of the stimulus and making sure you have a good response each time. The biggest mistake people make and that we could make is you overdo it, right? If you jump on the swing set and you make yourself feel really sick, that doesn't help you get used to it. And it also makes it not very fun. You're not going to want to continue to do it. We have to start in small chunks. That's the most important thing when you're treating something like motion sensitivity. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you want to learn more, I talk a lot about this kind of idea in my webinar, Balance, Integrate, Grow. I'll go ahead and link that down below. Feel free to check it out. It's completely free. It'll also let you book a call with me at the end if you want to discuss your situation in a little more depth. So hope this was helpful. It's often misunderstood. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Appreciate you watching.